Hello, and welcome to Humanoid Robotic Insights. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Tyler Bouchard, the CEO and co-founder of Flexxbotics. And today, we're going to be discussing the use of humanoids within manufacturing settings. Thank you very much for joining me, Tyler.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jack.
Could you begin by giving a brief overview to yourself?
Yeah, certainly. So I got my start, like most people in this industry, within engineering. So went to a university local to Boston called Worcester Polytech. Most of my industry experience has been working within factory automation type of organizations. So working for companies like Cognex, Mitsubishi Electric, Novanta. So I've been, on the manufacturing floor and selling manufacturing solutions to, those types of entities the entirety of my career. So, saw there was an opportunity within collaborative robots, especially with Universal Robots coming into the to the US, and how their software platform aligned with manufacturers, and that was, kind of the first, I would say, introduction of Flexxbotics into the manufacturing environment and manufacturing solutions.
Perfect. So could you now please give our audience a bit of an overview to Flexxbotics?
Yeah, certainly. So we, do what we call robot-driven manufacturing. And what that comes down to is we're putting the robot at the center of the work cell. The robot is the new vector workforce that's being introduced into manufacturing. It's been introduced for a while, but you can see that there's a significant amount of uptake in the amount of robotic solutions that are being put into manufacturing environments. And so what we do by putting the robot at the center of the work cell, we give the robot a level of intelligence that it can be able to execute, more effective process integration of that robot. So in more simple terms, what we're doing is we're giving an understanding of the robot of various information like process control, information around communication between the robot and the equipment, and giving the robot enough context that it can be able to run autonomously, the same way that a human would be inside of a work cell, understanding information from your business systems, what's going on with the machine itself, how do these parts actually run through this manufacturing cell. We're giving all of that information to the robot so that it can be able to run autonomously within the cell, and at the end be able to have your robots be more effective. So the way that we're able to do this is through our breakthrough technology, FlexxCORE, which is a high performance architecture where we can create rapidly transformers, which is basically communication connectors between robots and capital equipment that's within the cell. And that's a bi-directional type of communication, read and write, for more of the technical folks out there, so that the robot can be able to have closed loop control between itself and the factory equipment that it's tending to.
So you just mentioned FlexxCORE there briefly. Could you go into a bit more detail around your FlexxCORE technology?
Yeah, definitely. So, like I said, we built that as an architecture. And so what makes that different than, what traditionally is done in these types of applications and situations is that we have that architecture and framework where we can rapidly build those connectors versus more of the custom type of code that people write for, a communication connector between a robot and a piece of equipment. So we're able to, be able to rapidly create those connectors. And then once we've created them, we have them within our library. So we have over 1,000 makes and models that we're compatible with, ranging from CNC machines to semiconductor test equipment to quality inspection like CMMs. And we're able to then use that to be able to have that tight coordination and orchestration of the robot tending to those cells. So you can have multi-machine types of setups where the robot is basically coordinating everything between that and using various process control information to, enact what needs to happen next within the cell.
Great. And so you mentioned in how the FlexxCORE architecture rapidly creates connectors. Can you talk about how you specifically do that?
Yeah, I won't go into too much detail with it, but I can kind of give you a quick overview. We're effectively using agentic AI to create these connectors rapidly. So the advancements in AI, we're applying this now in using our architecture and our API and having agentic AI be able to create these connectors. So this has been a massive advancement in our ability to take these connectors, which have traditionally taken weeks, months for custom system integrators to create, and we're creating them within days.
Thank you very much. Now, lots of the emerging humanoid companies are talking about manufacturing as a key area for deployment. You see it everywhere you go. What role do you see humanoids playing in this industry?
Yeah, so I mean, from talking with various humanoid companies and some of the CEOs that are within there, what I've seen and from them is the most applicable use of humanoids is in unstructured environments. So what 6-axis robots, or we'll say traditional robots, have been really good at is when you provide some structure around it, the robot is able to then use that structure to get repeatable type of output of those production. But there's a whole area of the manufacturing environment and those other applications, but I'll focus kind of more within our purview of manufacturing. But in manufacturing environments where they have very unstructured types of setups, think about if you have incoming inventory, taking that incoming inventory, being able to organize that, and then being able to direct that effectively to the robot. So we see, and I think we're talking to a lot of other humanoid companies, some of the biggest potential is taking those unstructured environments, using the technological advancements of humanoids within their vision feedback type of systems and the introduction of AI within them to be able to take those unstructured environments and then use the flow of that material into more structured environments where you have 6-axis robots being the ones to execute what the different machining or other types of operations that need to happen on those parts.
So there's evidently a range of benefits from deploying humanoids within manufacturing scenarios. But what are some of the biggest challenges with introducing humanoids into these manufacturing scenarios? And what needs to happen for this to become a reality?
Yeah, so I think what a lot of the humanoid companies are working on, right? Battery life. How can you be able to, move material over long distances? You have large, massive manufacturing facilities. Payload, right? You have parts varying size. How can you be able to take larger type of payloads? So I think those are all issues that humanoid companies are well positioned to be able to solve and are actively solving them right now. Another aspect that I think is a huge issue that I don't think many people are addressing right now is what is coordinating and orchestrating the entirety of the automated factory equipment, including humanoids, AGVs, robots. This is, the effective information that's coming from the business systems down to the floor, and then the execution of that information on the operations within that floor. So this is where I think, Flexxbotics is well positioned with our ability to take that information from business systems and be able to then direct and orchestrate the humanoids, AGVs, and 6-axis robots to be able to execute what needs to be done within the work cells.
Perfect. So you mentioned taking information from business systems and directing automation equipment with that information. Can you explain how Flexxbotics is doing that?
Yeah, so we're utilizing what we're calling robotic production software. So this is software that sits between business systems, robots, and the factory equipment that's on the floor. And so robotic production software is taking the information from the business systems and then is associating it with what jobs need to be done by those robots on a part-by-part basis. So our SKU-by-SKU basis. And so it's taking that information and then it's giving that intelligence to the robot to then say, execute this job with all the relevant information from the business systems. And then when it's done with that job, taking that information and being able to actually send that back to the business systems. Not to get into too much detail about this, but this is how we do certain regulatory type of line clear requirements where we can be able to automate that information flow back and forth from the business system to the cell and back up into the business systems and be able to, like I said, effectively automate that entire process.
Awesome. And which industries and applications are currently using the Flexxbotics solution?
Yeah, so we're focusing in high precision type of manufacturing environments. So these are medical, aerospace and defense, space itself, semiconductor, pharma, applications, and some automotive as well too, but applications that have high precision and highly regulated types of industries that have stringent process control type of requirements.
Thank you very much. So without naming specific companies, could you talk us through a couple of customer case studies?
Yeah, definitely. I will. I'll talk about one medical application where we had basically a robot needed to tend to 6 CNC machines. So we developed a rail setup for them with a robot to then be able to coordinate motion from the robot back and forth and loading and unloading of these types of machines and making sure that they're adhering and passing all of the line clear requirements from this medical manufacturer and being able to make sure that in conjunction the quality of those parts is being met. So it was a highly stringent type of requirement setup with also a complex type of mechanical setup where a robot being able to tend to multiple machines. So that was, like I said, a really good application that we did. We had another one, which was a defense application where they were making small arms, and we provided a cellularized setup. So this is a multi-machine setup, 2 CNCs, a CMM, and then we also had a secondary operations of blowing down, washing, so that it could be inspected on to the CMM. So the need for them was to be able to take the information from output of the inspection on the CMM and be able to direct what needs to change in real time on the CNC machines. And in the CNC world, this is basically applying offsets in real time. So we had that all tightly coordinated with the Flexxbotics software doing that for them. And then with that cell, we were actually able to double the output compared to their manual cell that they had. So this was through about 90% utilization over a 24-hour period, 7 days a week. So they are effectively pumping parts out pretty well with this setup.
It's very impressive. Now, so finally, what excites you the most about the intersection of humanoid robotics and industry automation over the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, I think you nailed it with the question there. It's the intersection. It's the combination of how the technology is interacting with each other. The combination of humanoids, AGVs, 6-axis robots, all working together is helping manufacturing basically achieve, what it's been trying to do for the last, we'll say 30 years, which is achieve true lights out manufacturing. So combining that from everything from incoming, where you have companies like, Pickle Robotics, where they're doing incoming of that type of material, humanoids taking that material unstructured and putting into more structured environments, AGVs then delivering that down to 6-axis robots who are then taking that finished parts, having palletizing robots take that, and then shipping robots being able to send those out the door. You can see that end to end, you have a full autonomous type of manufacturing environment. And I think, with how manufacturing is, vital to, any type of, national security for, any type of any type of country, and how important it is for, the vitality of an economy. Seeing the introduction of that type of technology and getting to that point, I think is really exciting for, for manufacturing in general.
Well, Tyler, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. And before I let you go, could you please let our audience know how they can learn more about Flexxbotics?
Yeah, definitely. Best places to go, LinkedIn. We're fairly active putting material out. So there's, blogs and posts that we put on that. And, one of the best places as well is our website, Flexxbotics, which is FLEXXBOTICS.com, for you able to learn more about, what Flexxbotics does.
Well, Tyler, thank you very much for your time.
Awesome. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate you having me.